In today's video, we're going to be breaking down a very stormy pattern. We do have that potential tornado outbreak starting tomorrow that we need to track, among other pretty impactful systems moving across the nation over the next 10 days. Let's just dive into things, and as you can see for today, things aren't even too shabby. I mean, we have a very impactful storm out west. We have snowfall in Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, and Idaho, perhaps in some surrounding states as well. This is all coming from a 993 over Wyoming. We have rainfall happening in some of the surrounding areas. It's kind of interesting. The center here is like a donut. We're seeing snowfall, and in the surrounding ring, we're seeing rainfall. Very interesting. Now, for the south central states, again, we are seeing a tornado outbreak perhaps tomorrow. We're already seeing a lot of Gulf moisture infusing into this area, and this is causing some thunderstorms to be very, very prevalent and potential severe weather down there. Keep in mind that a lot of times beforehand, when we see tornado outbreaks or severe weather outbreaks, there can be some very bad thunderstorms the day prior. So keep that in mind for areas down there, as the environment is already getting set up for what is to come. So some of those ingredients should already be in place. That's a good rule of thumb, I think. And for the eastern seaboard, we are seeing isolated and scattered thunderstorms up and down this area for the first time in what feels like over a month. I think it literally has been, actually. Now, as we move towards Monday on the 6th of May here, we have a 981 here over South Dakota. We're seeing thunderstorms firing up here for Nebraska and Kansas, and we have snowfall here for the Cascades and Rockies due to this extremely strong low. So we have this push of cold air from the south and this surge of warmth wrapping around the low, and this is going to create a very intense situation for areas down here where these two air masses are interacting. Like we mentioned yesterday, a lot of what's happening is going to be happening overnight, actually, and this is by the time we're taking a look at 11 p.m. Well, let's backtrack it. So this is going to be approximately 7 or 8 p.m., and we already have some pretty bad thunderstorms up and down this area: Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. It is fully in swing by this point. By 11 p.m., we see that there is a still very strong line of thunderstorms for multiple states like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, up through South Dakota. So very, very intense situation. And even by about 2 or 3 a.m., we're still seeing these severe thunderstorms ongoing for a lot of these areas like Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Iowa, Illinois, up through Minnesota, and the Dakotas as well. And this is going to last straight into the day after, as you can see. This low is still extremely strong up here in North Dakota. 983, which is quite significant. Snowfall and cold just really reaching well into this Rocky Mountain range and even for a lot of the Northwest. And we're seeing a strong surge of warmth here to the east of this intense low. We have this low here, and then we have a secondary low here, 999. And a lot of our bad thunderstorms, I think, for day 2 are going to look like this for Tuesday on May 7th here. By the time we take a look at Wednesday on May 8th, we see kind of a resurgence of another low here over Missouri, another line of bad thunderstorms developing, and this should be our next big severe weather event happening basically the day after all of this, so it's all related, but a multi-day severe weather event is on our doorsteps here. Snowfall still happening for Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, so pretty far stretching there. As we reach towards Thursday here on the 9th, we see that a lot of this is moving towards the eastern seaboard. We have a 998 over Ohio, causing some thunderstorm activity across the deeper south, up into the mid-Atlantic there. By the time we reach Friday, we see that there is a continued area of storminess there for the mid-Atlantic and northeast. A little bit quieter, but we do have some thunderstorms along the Gulf Coast and up through some of the south central states there. Let's take it towards Saturday on the 11th. And we're seeing a lot of the same, except it's really just pretty exclusive here for New Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi there. Maybe some pockets of isolated thunderstorms like the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, up through the Midwest, but nothing too significant by that point. Sunday, we are starting to see things build up even further here for the south central states. We do have 1,005 here over Mexico, just to the south of here, causing thunderstorms for Texas, Louisiana, perhaps even Oklahoma and Mississippi again. And the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast is seeing isolated and scattered thunderstorms still by that 12th time frame. By Monday on the 13th, we see that a lot of this energy is still there over Texas, but most of it has actually transferred over to further east, over Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida here, where we have some strong thunderstorms present. Still, though, some isolated and scattered ones over Texas and Oklahoma. Then for Tuesday, we see that all of this wants to develop into a minor nor'easter offshore of the East Coast. So we are seeing a lot of precipitation in here. Likely less thunderstorms and more showers would be what you'd be watching for here. And by the next morning, we can see that a lot of this is moving further and further offshore. Maybe a pocket of thunderstorms for Florida and some showers up and down the East Coast, but relatively quiet. Now, total precipitation through all of this is looking a little bit receded here for the Northwest. It's still about average amounts, but we had been seeing a lot more than this for the past month or so, and we're finally seeing that die down a little bit. Your northern Rockies region for Montana and Wyoming, even into a little bit of the Dakotas, is still looking quite intense there. And then from the plains eastward here, so for states like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota here, and you take that eastward to the northeast or to the southeast, we are seeing prevalent amounts of activity in all of these areas from the central states on eastward all the way to the East Coast. Total snowfall here is still looking quite intense for the Rockies and Cascades, but the Sierra Nevada is looking very, very died down. So we'll have to see if wintertime is basically as a whole dying down for these areas, or if we see a resurgence later on, but the clock is of course ticking. As we take a look here at the temperature pattern, we expect warmth through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday time frame. It's not until Friday, Saturday where we start to see this colder air finally reach the eastern seaboard. This is overnight Saturday into Sunday actually here, 11th into 12th. And what we see is another brief warm-up moves in. We see more cold air on the way after that. It gets pretty sloppy. But look at this. Finally, in the long range, as we reach towards the 20th, we see cold air rebuild for the west, encouraging another really hot pattern in the east. And this is going to take us pretty close to June. So you can imagine this is going to be very hot temperatures in a pattern like this. Certainly, we're moving much closer to summertime, obviously, day by day. And these higher temperatures are just going to get higher and higher and higher. So, this is 15 days from now. Even below normal temperatures in 15 days is going to be quite a bit warmer than your average temperatures are now. So that is kind of the difficult thing with long-range temperature forecasting, is kind of tracking those averages that are climbing as well this time of year. Certainly going to be interesting, but we are seeing a warm up in the long-range pattern, which could bring about our first potential heat wave actually. So we'll need to watch this very closely, as a lot of this through the plains and Ohio Valley looks quite significant. Now, the Storm Prediction Center outlook here for day one, we do see a general thunderstorm risk area through a lot of the Rockies, the plains here, in the southern plains, some of the Ohio Valley through the southeast, the mid-Atlantic as well. So a lot of areas dealing with general thunderstorms. No severe weather expected. Of course, anything is possible, so always heed all the watches, warnings, and advisories, but that is the expectations as of now. The two darker green areas are that marginal risk level 1 area, and that's where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then for Texas here, we have this yellow area, which is our slight risk level 2, where we expect scattered about severe weather to be prevalent. Now, things get real on day 2 here for Monday, May 6th. As you can see, general thunderstorm risk area, again, very, very large here across a lot of the nation, probably a majority of it. The darker green area here with the isolated severe weather risk. Your yellow area bringing about scattered thunderstorms, or severe weather, better yet. The orange area here for a bit of Texas up through Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. We are seeing an enhanced risk, which is our level 3, which is where we expect a little bit more widespread severe weather to take place. And then the red area between Oklahoma and Kansas is our moderate risk. And moderate risk is very misleading. I've talked about this about a month or two ago, but moderate risk is the second highest level. So, I think moderate kind of seems like it's in the middle is what the name would sound like to most people. But moderate in reality is actually very, very high risk. There's only one level above it, and that is a very seldomly used level. The level high risk is used maybe once a year, but not even sometimes. So very rarely is that used. Moderate is really the only semi-commonly used highest risk outlook that there is. So this is dedicated for extremely significant severe weather events. I want to iterate that, and that is what is expected for Oklahoma and Kansas. So moderate, yes, misleading, but I'm glad that I'm able to dissect it for you guys there. Day 3. For Tuesday on May 7th, what we see is, again, a very large general thunderstorm risk area We have another one there over the Rockies as well. We have a marginal risk as of now in these darker green areas where we do expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then we have a very large yellow slight risk area for a lot of Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and a bit of West Virginia as well. Has a little bit of Mississippi there. This could get upgraded to an enhanced risk perhaps. Could stay this way as well, but slight risks are, you know, a lot closer to what you would imagine moderate would be like, more of a mid-tier chance, I would say. So definitely some impactful things can happen. We actually had an EF3 tornado occur on a slight risk day last year in Virginia Beach here locally in Southeast Virginia. So that definitely, those types of things do happen on these days as well. So don't underestimate it, I guess is my point. And then for the day following, we actually have a larger severe weather chance on this third day of this outbreak for Wednesday, May 8th. We do expect at least a slight risk for all of these yellow areas. So Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, a bit of North Carolina, a bit of Georgia, northern Alabama, and northern Mississippi here. Very, very large. And you can imagine that likely we will have at least an enhanced risk within that as well. Could go up even higher than that. So definitely another very impactful day for Wednesday on May 8th. We'll of course be tracking it with you guys daily. So be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below and I'll see you guys in the next video.